Hello, welcome to our second Super Saturday event of 2009. It's great to be here with everyone, and I'm happy to report that this is the largest event of this type to date, certainly geographically. For the first time, we actually are fortunate to be holding programs in several countries around the world at the same time. Since our last event, I've spent quite a bit of time in the field. I covered a lot of ground in the U.S., even hosted a barbecue meeting at my house in Florida, and I've just arrived back from a very productive trip in Europe. I always find it energizing to meet with our distributors, especially at company events. There are always such great stories that are so personal and sometimes very touching, but these meetings were different. They had a very specific purpose in mind, which quite frankly was for me to get reacquainted. There were still great stories and it was still very personal, but these meetings were aimed at getting firsthand input from some of our leaders in order to help me get refocused on how I could provide the most impact on the business at hand. I learned a lot from these meetings, and I know what to do next. As many differences as there are between different countries and how they like to do business, and there are plenty, I also found many similarities. But one of the topics I found to be of great concern just about everywhere I went was the necessity of frequent and complete two-way communication between the distributors and the corporate office. The fact is, I couldn't agree more. To me, it's clear that our number one job is to support you, our distributors. The only way of effectively doing that is to make sure that we listen to what you have to say. Now, of course, I'm not saying we'll agree with absolutely everything, but the fact is we have a fantastic group of very talented and creative individuals who make up our distributor network, who also possess a great deal of experience. It would be ridiculous for us to ignore such a tremendous resource. I mentioned two-way communication a moment ago. As important as it is to listen to what you have to say, it's just as important that we keep you informed about what we're going to do and when. I know we've kind of surprised you with some technological enhancements to the website back office lately. Did I get that right? The fact is that even though we know how important something that you use every day, like the genealogy, is to you, and we know better than to make major revisions without getting input from the leadership, and we know better than to just roll it out without giving you plenty of advance notice, because we know that doing so would make it more difficult than we want it to be for you to do what we want you to do, grow your business and make money, we did it anyway. Rest assured we take this very seriously and it will never happen again. That's all I can say about that. On those lines, however, I'd like to let everyone know that our staff is working on a complete redevelopment of the Nexigen website, and you'll begin to receive advanced peeks of the site as well as beta examples of how the site will work. In the back office, you'll see a great deal of improved functionality that's a lot easier to navigate. And on the front side, we're adopting a much cleaner and simplistic look and feel so your customers immediately know what to do. There are two more things I think you'll be happy to hear. First, this is not going to happen overnight. This extensive redesign will take place over a series of weeks. And second, we understand that the website is the most important tool we provide. If something is difficult or confusing to use, we'll continue development until it's as intuitive and user-friendly as it needs to be, while at the same time providing the information you need to maximize your business. A couple of enhancements that have just recently gone out are genfemeeting.com, which is a web sharing tool that helps us come together for training and opportunity meetings, as well as genfetv.com, our own YouTube-styled site, which allows you to share and express yourselves in a visual medium. And I really need to point out that our Next Europe leadership was the driving force behind genfetv.com. They had a great deal of input, which quite literally shaped this project. So that's an excellent example of what can happen when we work together. I'd like to talk about a couple of Nexigen team members for a moment. As I mentioned, I just came back from Europe. One of the things I had the pleasure of doing on that visit was to become more familiar with two individuals who are very important to our continued success. Number one, Andy Wolf. I've been acquainted with Andy for a long time, but I hadn't really gotten to know him. Andy is an attorney who specializes in this industry, and he's the one responsible for making sure that we're compliant from country to country. And if you're familiar with this area, you know what a big job that is. Andy cares very much about this project and making sure that we do everything the right way. That's very important to us as well. I'm glad he's on our team. One thing about Andy, though, he has a bad habit of giving out his cell number. Do not call him. He bills by the hour. Actually, I'm just kidding. I think he bills by the minute. This would be a good time, I think, to talk about the next country that we're finalizing preparations to enter. That country is Russia. I think everybody understands what an important market that is. We know how much potential there is there. And as I mentioned earlier, Even though we're very anxious to open up the doors, we still have to ensure that we have everything in place to make sure that we do our job in supporting your efforts to help us expand. Another person that will be helping us with entry into Russia, and for that matter is responsible for creating our long-range European expansion plan, is John Dowdy. John is a UK resident who has spent years in the network marketing industry. I'm very pleased that he is already engaged. In fact, as I got to know him, it became clear that John was able to take on an even larger role than he already has. And for that reason, we've just promoted John to the position of Managing Director of European Affairs. Congratulations, John. You know, I think everybody involved can feel the momentum building. I'm certain we're about to step up to yet another level of success, but it's not enough to just want to be successful. Like you, we at the corporate office need to work hard to earn it, or deserve it for that matter. I'm very proud of the corporate team members at Nexgen and Next Europe, and I think you will all find it very apparent that everyone understands what an important time this is for all of us as we enter into our next and most dramatic growth segment yet. And I can feel a sense of renewed commitment to make sure we provide everything you'll need to propel your efforts. Usually when I see something like this happening, I try and start some friendly competition between various groups to make it a little more fun and to help everybody do their best, but not this time. This time, I think it's very important for all of us to be working together to reach that next level. The last thing I want to do is create any divisions, because we have so many strong people working all around the world to make this happen. I think it's very important, now more than ever, that everyone remains open to learning from and supporting the efforts of other Nexgen USA and Next Europe distributors. We've already made that commitment as a company, and I'd like you to do it individually as well. It's still okay to be proud of your team's achievements or your cities or your countries, but I'd like everyone here to focus on the pride that will come with watching Nexgen really hit its stride all around the world and knowing you were a big part of making that happen. I mentioned the economy on my last address. Unfortunately, things haven't gotten a whole lot better for citizens at large. I hope, however, that you've been able to experience the power of being self-employed. If so, that means that neither you nor your loved ones have had to alter your standard of living because of what's happening around you. I can tell you that the network marketing industry as a whole has experienced great gains during this period. And if you haven't, I'd encourage you to ask yourself why. The fact is, even though most people are still going to feel wary of what seems to be risking large sums of money, which is why we created the Solo Pack, you'll find that people are more willing than ever to open their minds to pursuing alternatives to what they have thought as the safe and secure path. We need to help people understand what it means to be in control of their own lives. You have the ability to do that, and I hope you take it seriously. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody very soon. We have a series of events coming up, including a national convention here in the United States and a huge event in Europe that will include people from several different countries, as well as many other events to help provide support for you. The first half of the Team Excellence Incentive Program has just concluded. If you haven't already seen them, look for the announcement of the first 12 winners in your back office and make sure to congratulate them. And if you weren't one of those winners, the good news is the contest just started all over again, so now's your chance. Thanks for being here. Again, I want to thank all of the distributors who've taken time out of their schedules to meet with me, to congratulate John Dowdy on his promotion to Managing Director of European Affairs, and to welcome Dave Crawford back and tell him how pleased we are with his recovery. But most of all, I want to thank the entire Nexgen team for all of your hard work and dedication. I know that represents a sincere commitment to all of your customers and coworkers and a personal connection to the company as a whole. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your Super Saturday.